Alright guys, welcome back to another anime review. Today we are going to be talking about Nichijou, which was requested by Platts. I watched it a long time ago, I think it came out in 2012, but I just got done rewatching it. And I actually watched it in English dub this time, which was, I actually liked it probably a little bit better. Because some of the jokes make a lot more sense to me, they kind of explain things a little bit better. But Nichijou, basically a synopsis of it, is a slice of life anime, so basically it's finding humor in everyday life of the characters with the epitome of hyperbole, as Brian Regan says. And yeah, it's just a ton of hyperbole and just relatable situations that the characters run into, like staving off boredom. And it's super wholesome as well. It does have like amazing opening. Both openings I think are super great. I like the first ending. The second ending, the song changes like every episode, and most of them are like really missed for me. But I really like the video for it. I like the video because it like shows the whole city and all the characters like interacting day by day, like from a far out zoom, and that's just like pretty eye-opening and really neat. I don't know. Like, I didn't watch it too much when I was first watching it because I usually stay away from the endings. I don't watch them like once. But like watching that, I really enjoyed that this time. And then the characters that the show follows is Mai, Mio, and Yuko, I think is her name. And then Nano, Hakase, and Sato are basically like the six main characters. There's a bunch of other characters that show up pretty frequently, but those are like the six main that show up like almost every episode. Mai is basically a Fujiyoshi, which is not as cool as it sounds. I think you might think like Yoshi from Mount Fuji or something like that, but that's not what it is. It's like the opposite of the otaku is how I understand it. And usually they have like the pervy side of the otaku culture where instead of it being like that 2D complex where they fall in love with the characters and shows and stuff like in anime and manga, but Fujiyoshis usually have like boys love kind of thing, so it's like dudes making out kind of manga stuff from what I've seen from animes. I don't know if that's how Fujiyoshis are in real life, because some people consider otakus just people that watch a lot of anime, but then they kind of neglect like the other side of it that people usually look down on it for, which is the 2D complex. So I don't know, I ain't gonna make too many generalizations by that, but also I'm gonna include my favorite clip from the show, which is based off Mio. But yeah, she's basically just a Fujiyoshi that's like really shy about her passion, and it leads to very funny situations when you have like that dark passion you don't want to know anybody to know about. And then Yuko is just like your typical, that one friend you have that cannot stop doing something dumb. They're always fun to be around because they always try to make things interesting. But my god, they do the dumbest things and you're just like, come on man, how did you think that was a good idea? And they have like the worst luck too. That character reminds me of so many people I used to know in high school. And that's a good thing about this anime too. It brings up a lot of nostalgia. If you're not in high school anymore, you can kind of look back at it and like remember people that you met and like situations that they were in. And then Mio is like one of my friends, like one of my best friends, Andrew. Oh my god, because she is the biggest troll. She just, every episode, she is trolling Yuko or Mai or someone. Or did I get them backwards? Oh, wait a second. I gotta do research. Awkward pause. No, it's Mio. Okay, yeah, Mio is the one that's a super troll. Oh my god, she's... That one always reminds me of my best friend. One of my best friends. Freaking, yeah, that leads to some pretty hilarious situations. A lot of her trolling, though, is kind of like, has to do with like Japanese culture and stuff like that. So without doing like further research on it, I don't get some of the jokes. That's one of the reasons why I kind of like the English dub, because they try to like kind of translate it into what it would be in America a little bit, or like what it would be in English-speaking cultures, I guess. Or that's how it felt to me. It felt like it was a little bit more explained, and it might not be explained correctly, but at least I can kind of get the humor a little bit better. Don't get me wrong, the Japanese version's still great, but I really like the English dub after rewatching it. And then Nano is basically a robot that wants to live an ordinary life. I think the title Nichijou translates to everyday life or ordinary life or something like that. But it's like all the events in it, like things that they're doing, and like every skit, because it's a bunch of skits put together basically that can show up like at one point in the anime, and they can show up way later in the anime. So it does like callbacks, which is kind of funny, but kind of makes you want to watch the whole thing at one time because you want to see all the skits back to back to back and how they link to each other. Because if you don't, like, some things don't show up till like way later in the anime. Like, I remember, there's not really spoilers too because it's a skit show, it doesn't really have plot, but I remember Mio likes one character, but that doesn't get brought up again until like the very end of the anime. Because it talks about another love interest that the dude, well, another chick that's interested in the dude, which shows up later, but like it doesn't bring it up again because the skits are kind of like randomly placed, but they'll like call back to previous episodes that happened, which is kind of cool. It's always fun when humor does like callbacks and stuff like that. But yeah, Nano wants to be like a regular robot, but Hakase is like a little girl that made her, who is very much a child. Like, she's super smart because she created a robot and she makes all these inventions, but she has the mentality of a child. She is like super spoiled, doesn't care what anybody else says, always is messing something up, and just like blames it on other people. It has like a lot of characteristics that kids have, and it's like really well done. So Hakase is like pretty much preventing Nano from like ordinary life that she craves. But they have like super wholesome episodes usually because Nano is kind of like the parent and Hakase is like the child. But Hakase is actually the parent because she made Nano. So there's a lot of little concepts like that when you think about it, it's a little bit more humorous. Like just the like situation that they're put in. Like there was one scene where the guy's going to talk to the nurse, but the nurse like is trying to capture Nano because she's a robot and she wants to like experiment on her because she's like a scientist nurse. And the guy's going in there and then she shocks him, which is kind of like absurd because like you go to like the nurse's office to get better, you don't go to the nurse's office to get like messed up and knocked out. So yeah, there's a lot of little things like that. Sakamoto is just like a cat that talks, that has like the personality of an older gentleman, but when there's time for play, he tries to act like he's not interested in it, but he gets like super interested, like a cat with a laser dot sight. Like cats always act like standoffish and stuff, and then you get like a laser dot sight or something, you can move really quick, and then they're like, oh, they're so game, they start acting like the animal they are. Yeah, and then there's a lot of other characters that fill different types of tropes and like situations. Nichijou's one thing it does really well is that it portrays certain situations in real life very well, like with the awkwardness and anxiety. Like, it makes it super relatable because it's not trying to make it like super entertaining all the time. Some of the skits aren't like, I guess if you hadn't had the situation, they probably wouldn't be funny at all. But if you've been in the situation, you can relate to it and you're like, oh my god. Like there's one where they're trying to order a coffee and it's like all the different like tall latte grand, and then Yuko's trying to figure out what it is and she's like super struggling, and the coffee lady is just not being helpful because she's got like social anxiety as well, so she's not communicating properly. So it's just like they're clashing and she's trying to get a thing, and then she ends up with this little thimble of coffee, and I was like, I've done that before. And you like feel so stupid that you don't want to go up there and be like, this isn't what I wanted, because I was just like, I could relate to that situation, because she tells the waitress like, do what you feel in your soul, and the waitress gives her that thimble. I would have been pissed. I was like, is this what you really thought I wanted? But I wouldn't have said anything either though, because I was too dumb and I told her to do what she felt in her soul, and that's what she did. But yeah, I'll include the clip, my favorite clip of the show, so I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to see more anime reviews, this one was a little bit easier because I'm not worried about doing spoilers with it, because there's not really spoilers. It's just a bunch of skits put together that actually link it to a pretty nice, wholesome story. I really recommend this anime. Another one that's pretty good is Danchi Kokusei no Nichijou, which is more relatable just for boys because it's like boys' everyday life or something like that. It doesn't have like the funnier, like the high points of funny in Nichijou are definitely higher than Danchi Kokusei no Nichijou. There was a lot more things in Danchi Kokusei no Nichijou that I saw and I was like, yeah, that's what happened. Like when they find a stick and they're like role playing and stuff like that, I was like, yeah. That's like the old days when people used to play outside and whatnot. I was gonna say something else. But if you like the video, please like and subscribe. And there's something else I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, there's also a Helvetica standard. I figure I should explain that. What that is Helvetica is I'm probably saying it wrong. Is a font style, and basically Helvetica standard is like a 4-panel comic that the creator made that he includes in all the episodes, or most of the episodes. I think it's like every episode. But definitely this anime is worth a check. It can get a little bit... some of the episodes can be a little bit boring because like I don't get the humor in it because it's like Japanese culture stuff, or just like it's not something that relates to what I like, because they have like a pretty general base because they have a lot of characters. But when it does hit its funny episodes, it's freaking crazy. And here, without further ado, here's gonna be the clue. But as always, thanks for watching, and this is gonna be the end of my part. Bye.